Take us back to when you really started all of this.
Well, that was the summer of '95. I had no money whatsoever. I was working, doing research in Silicon Valley on a completely different subject and trying to start this company at the same time. And when it came time to decide, do I want to do graduate studies or do I want to start this company? And I decided to start the company. I had no money. As a graduate student, I would have received a scholarship and a stipend and so forth. In starting the company, I had nothing. I had no income source. So we found that an office was actually cheaper than an apartment in Silicon Valley. So we got this dinky little office that had a leaky roof. It was just the nastiest place you can imagine.
And you lived in it too.
And I lived in it. Back in '95, there weren't very many people on the internet. And certainly nobody was making any money at all. Most people thought the internet was going to be a fad. Wow, I can't believe it's actually here. It's pretty wild, man. This is definitely very cool. I like it a lot.
Congratulations.
Just 3 years ago, I was showering at the Y and sleeping on the office floor. And now, obviously I've got a $1 million car and quite a few creature comforts. It's just a moment in my life. You have to spend a tremendous amount of your time at work. So there's no such thing as the 8-hour day in Silicon Valley in any field. Approximately 2 years ago, I started X.com. We were only about 5 people in total. The company is now over 600 people. I would say it's been fairly successful, given that X.com, now called PayPal, is the #1 financial site in the world.
Say your name, spell it for me, tell me what you do.
Elon Musk, E-L-O-N, M-U-S-K, Chief Executive Officer of Space Exploration Technologies, or SpaceX. I think there's only so much we can learn by looking through a telescope, and eventually we need to go out there if we're to find the answer. And so, being obsessive compulsive is a good thing in this context. Really liking what you do, whatever area that you get into. Given that, even if you're the best, there's always a chance of failure. So I think it's important that you really like whatever you're doing. If you don't like it, life is too short. I'd say, and also if you like what you're doing, you think about it even when you're not working. I mean, it's something that your mind is drawn to. And if you don't like it, you just really can't make it work, I think. It quickly became obvious that there really isn't anything fundamental that prevents chemical rockets from being much cheaper than they are right now. To give you an example, the propellant cost of the Falcon 1, what it costs to fill the gas tank essentially, is about $30,000, and that's on a $6.5 million launch initially. We want to keep driving that launch cost down, but in airlines that is a dominating factor, often the predominant factor in cost. Whereas for rockets, it's an accounting error, and we need to get to the point. Business.
I have to ask you, Elon, why? I mean, this could potentially soak up the fortune that you made with PayPal and some of your other companies, yet you're still very interested in doing this.
It's funny you should say that. Actually, there's a joke that's so common, I started reversing the joke. It's people would say, how do you make a small fortune in the space business? Well, you start with a large one. So
okay, good.
So people would ask me, why did you start a space company? I said, well, I had a large fortune. I was trying to turn it into a small one as fast as possible, and this seemed like a good way to do it. But in all seriousness, I think that the opportunities in space are actually very significant, and we're really potentially at a point with space exploration that we were with the internet about 10 or 15 years ago, and I think it's really poised for some very significant growth. Elon Musk. I'm the chairman and the product architect of the company.
And what car do you drive yourself?
Well, Tesla Roadster, of course.
Is that the only car you drive?
No, I also have a Porsche Turbo.
And
That's the family car.
what kind of mileage does that get?
It's 20 miles a gallon, so it's actually good as a sports car goes, you know. But my daily driver is the Tesla Roadster. I have production unit 1, and I drive it to work every day. I put 2,000 miles on the car. And it's very important that we accelerate the adoption of electric vehicles. And it was not with the idea of just creating a sports car that's very expensive, because that doesn't really change the world. That's not going to make a dent on our energy usage. But the sports car is really just an entry point to the marketplace. And from the sports car, we'll go to Model 2, Model 3, and in each case, with each successive model, we'll increase the production volume and decrease the footprint.
Elon, what do you think Tesla will look like in 5 years? This company has changed so much just in the past few years.
Well, you know, what I hope we're doing in 5 years is doing our mass market vehicle. And then that's really been the goal all along. From the beginning, my dream for Tesla has been to make mass market electric vehicles. And that's, you know, we're about to do we've done step 1 of that with the Roadster, which is, you know, the high price, low volume. Now we're moving to Model S, mid price, mid volume. And then hopefully in 5 years, maybe 6 years, we're also producing the mass market electric vehicle. That's the ultimate dream for me, for Tesla.
Of actually bringing humans to Mars. Well, one South African-born billionaire is looking to do just that and more as early as 2025. Here's ABC's David Wright.
Built pretty much from scratch.
Here on Earth, there are real people already planning the logical next step.
I think we'll be able to send probably the first people to Mars in roughly 12 to 15 years. That's my estimate.
Meet Elon Musk, a high-tech executive who recently entered the space race.
You know, there are American heroes who don't like this idea. Neil Armstrong, Gene Cernan have both testified against commercial spaceflight in the way that you're developing it, and I wonder what you think of that.
I was very sad to see that because those guys are, yeah, you know, those guys are heroes of mine, so it's really tough. You know, I wish they would come and visit and see the hardware that we're doing here. And I think that would change their mind.
They inspired you to do this, didn't they?
Yes.
And to see them casting stones in your direction.
It's difficult.
Did you expect them to cheer you on?
Certainly hoping they would.
But as governments and businesses explore artificial intelligence, including their military applications, a leading U.S. billionaire has voiced fears about what machines could do on their own. And he isn't alone. The CBC's Ron Charles has more.
So I think there's potentially a dangerous outcome there, and we need to...
Dangerous.
Potentially, yes.
How so?
I mean, there's been movies about this, you know, like Terminator.
Is the future of the auto industry autonomous? Are these things really going to be a reality?
Autonomous cars will definitely be a reality. A Tesla car next year will probably be 90% capable of autopilot. Like, so 90% of your miles could be on auto. You know, for sure, highway travel.
How is that going to happen?
With a combination of various sensors, you combine cameras with image recognition, with radar, and long-range ultrasonics. That'll do it. Okay, going back to the AI situation, like this is quite an important debate. Like if you assume any rate of advancement in AI, we will be left behind by a lot. And so then we could be in, you know, benign, but even the benign situation, if you have if you have ultra intelligent AI, we would be, you know, so far below them in intelligence that it would be like, you know, a pet, basically.
Cat, that's what I was
like a
thinking.
pet,
Cat,
like a cat. It would be
Elon
like
the
a house cat. Yeah, it would be like the house cat.
Right.
Yeah, that's not the end of the world, you know. It's just, sort of pet.
I've seen the movie. It could be. Yeah.
It could be. So that honestly, that would be the benign scenario.
You tweet a lot.
I use my tweets to express myself. Some people use their hair. I use Twitter.
Well, but you use your tweeting to kind of get back at critics.
Rarely.
You kind of have little wars with the press.
Twitter is a war zone. If somebody's going to jump in the war zone, it's like, okay, you're in the arena. Let's go.
His war zone tweeting drew fire when out of the blue in August he tweeted, quote, "Am considering taking Tesla private at 420.
To your left, to your left. I think the judge will say, to your left, to your left, to your left. Easy guys, easy guys.
I have great respect for the justice system, and I think the judges, the American system are outstanding.
What about the SEC?
Yeah, you got them then? You got them?
So I think we should be cautious with AI, and I think there should be some government oversight because it affects it's a danger to the public. And so when you have things that are a danger to the public, like let's say, sort of food and drugs. That's why we have the Food and Drug Administration and the Federal Aviation Administration, the FCC. We have these agencies to oversee things that affect the public, where there could be public harm, and you don't want companies cutting corners on safety, and then having people suffer as a result. So that's why I've actually for a long time been a strong advocate of AI regulation. So that I think regulation is, it's not fun to be regulated. It's somewhat arduous to be regulated.
If you Google Elon Musk, I think you have 156 million search results.
Really?
76 million Twitter followers. You're definitely one of the most popular people on earth. Is popularity a pleasure or a liability for you?
Well, it makes it difficult to go buy a coffee at the corner store, that's for sure. So it's hard to go around places. I used to be able to just, go to the store or walk down the street. Now it's quite difficult to do that. It's hard for me to go to a restaurant, and if I do, I just try to find a corner table and that's kind of dimly lit or something where I can sort of stay out of the way.
You said that you cannot be and don't want to be alone. I very much share that feeling.
Yeah.
Where does it come from?
I think it's just a natural human reaction. It's got to be encoded. It's encoded in DNA, which is not that long. So the algorithm for intelligence cannot be complicated because it's limited by the DNA information constraint.
Yeah.
I give SpaceX less than a 10% chance of succeeding at all, to be clear. In fact, I told people this. I said, look, we're probably going to fail, but we should give it a try, because if we don't, if there's not a new company that enters space, we will never be a truly spacefaring civilization. While the other aerospace companies, they build good rockets and everything, they were simply not pursuing the technology that's necessary to make life multiplanetary, to make Star Trek, to make the exciting science fiction futures that we've read about real. And that's what SpaceX is all about, is to take the fiction out of science fiction and create an exciting, inspiring future for everyone.